Oh my god, we did it. Finally, we sat down and started recording a podcast. Jesus, it's been a long time coming. Well, yes, pinch yourself, because we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the grand reopening of the Points of View podcast. Steady those scissors, Logs loyalists. We've got a much overdue ribbon to snip. This is the Lager Logs Points of View with Tom and Stu. I'm Tom, he's Stu. Say hello, Stu.
Hello.
Woo! Guys, we're back. Finally. We know
Yes.
There's been a little Tom and Stu shaped hole in your hearts. And not to worry, we're going to fill it tonight alongside our bellies, beer glasses, and signing off forms. But seriously, about that heart thing, if the cavity does resemble any other specific people or persons, please, guys, get that checked out. Because it could be a serious medical condition and not a trivial matter to be overlooked. Stu, how are you, buddy?
Good. I'm so glad that we're recording. I've got just this big bulging blue balls with a lack of podcasting.
Wow. You're a bit keen this evening.
I'm ready to burst.
Okay.
Silent Mr. Ford.
It's been a long 3 months. You might be a bit rusty, but we'll get you fully lubed up in time for the first segment. Really happy to be back. It took a while to get the season off the ground, just as a little bit of behind the scenes, a couple of beer-related setbacks, real heartbreaking stuff, which I'm sure we'll get into at some point, or maybe just save that for therapy. So just to fill people in, we're doing something a little bit different this season. We've got a brilliant lineup on the way of special episodes covering select breweries, Brookside, and tonight
Jimmy Corkhill.
And tonight Under the Patio. And tonight's
Wait a minute,
choice...
is that Sinbad at the door?
Isn't that EastEnders? Tonight's choice is we'll cover that later. Tonight's choice is famed Scottish brewers McEwan's, who we covered all the way back in episode 7 of our second season, and we're both very excited to cover them again, as our coverage will be including one of our our joint favourite, Brewskis and Sleeping Aids champion, along with one of their new exciting releases, Headspace, not Thirsty Ferret. Okay, Asda.
Controversial.
Getting triggered already, dude. Right, let's pull the pin on this bad boy. Our first beer of this evening will be, surprisingly, the weaker of our two beers this evening, and that is Headspace. There we go. Look at that. Look how moist that is.
It's been waiting.
Man, that's a beautiful sight to behold. Okay, so for the first time this season, let's crack it open, bud.
Now, this is going to be... I'm introducing a new character to our podcasting universe. This is a gift from many years ago. Well, it looks like a little plastic doll to you.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Why has she only got one arm?
I used her too vigorously one day.
Ah, okay. So you still got one arm left, though.
There's a bonus. There's a point why I'm holding this little plastic doll.
Okay,
you got
there
a cracking arse.
How long have you been waiting to bust that one off? Honestly, dude.
Please, if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, I'll put this bit on Instagram so you can see that I'm not just some weird pervert. Or am I?
People know already you're a weird pervert, Stu, honestly. We don't need proof. We do not need the proof. Wow. Impressive.
Just like that.
Very impressive. Buddy, let's do it, man. Cheers!
Oh, no, I'm going to pour it.
Oh, man, come on. This always happens, dude. Here I am, raring to go.
Scotch Whisky.
He delays it with the pouring. You can smell it, man, definitely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely got a really nice kick to it in terms of odour. You look very sophisticated over there, but the way you're holding that glass.
Wait till I put my silly straw in.
Yeah, just make sure you don't spit it out, man. Don't get confused. This one goes, down in here.
Insert beer here.
Insert beer here. All right.
Okay.
We'll
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
That's very smooth.
It's very smooth. I think it's a bit more smoother than you would think going into it. It being a Scotch whisky beer. I think that's the impression. I've only had it like once before, and that was the impression I think I got last time, that it was very light for a whiskey beer. What do you think?
No, it was actually really good. I'm trying to think if it's like a caramel taste, but
yeah, it's got a got the kind of butterscotch kind of very light toffee flavor to it. It's nice. It's really nice. So yeah, this is Headspace from McEwan's, a legendary Scottish brewery, standing at a filthy 5.8%. I want to say that this is a fairly newish release. I only had it for the first time earlier this year, if I remember, and was really excited at the proposition of a whiskey beer. And yeah, I kind of feel the same now as I do back then. But while I get my thoughts together, I'm going to tell the lovely people out there a bit about McEwan's. So McEwan's was originally brewed by William McEwan's Fountain Brewery in Fountain Bridge. Talking about Rusty, geez, Edinburgh, on a loaner of £2,000 from his mother and uncle. The area and the brewery are named after the spring waters from the vicinity, and McEwan chose the location after engaging in industrial espionage at Bass and Allsops breweries in order to learn techniques and work out costs. When the company was registered in 1889, as McEwan's was whizzing off to Parliament to trade beer for politics, it was at that time the largest brewery in the United Kingdom under a single owner, and was producing 2 million barrels of beer a year, mostly export, which was its bread and butter in the early years. So, right, let's put a bookmark in that history book for the time being. So, as Stu,
I'll put my hand up. Do you think Willie McEwan is like one of the three musketeers that we see here?
I don't think he is. I think that, if I remember, is based off a famous painting, and I can't remember what the painting's called now. He's definitely been updated over the years. He looks a bit more jollier than he used to. But yeah, if I remember, it's based off a painting, and I can't remember the name of it. But Wikipedia will give you that answer. I'm just too busy right now, Stu. But thank you for asking that question. Appreciate that.
It's been answered.
Put it down. Thanks for the apple, though, babe. Really, really appreciate that. But Stu,
yes.
Look, I'm dying to catch up with you and your last beers. What? Woo! Come on.
Here we go.
Long. Fill me in, man.
All right. Well, I've been working my way through the Beer 52 boxes. So I'm not going to talk about that. I grabbed a big old tin of pale ale from Asda's last week. It was from Bad Company, and it was called Off Tempo Cloudy Pale Ale.
Cloudy Pale Ale. Interesting.
Yeah, it was one of the bigger tins, like the 440 mil. I think it was like 6.1%.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I'd done the trick, poured into my little San Miguel tumbler. It was a heavy drink. It was thick, cloudy, definitely had a strong, like, fruity flavour to it. But it just felt like a heavy drink. You know how when you have your stout, Guinness is far heavier than some other stouts, which are quite light. Yeah. This kind of felt like I was drinking a really heavy, almost like a syrupy pale ale.
Interesting. Very interesting. Was that to do with the kind of the cloudiness of it? Was it a bit like
could be
thicker than
more full bodied?
Your average pale ale. Interesting, man. Very, very interesting. Because you don't really get like a lot of. Was it like almost like a hazy Jane kind of thing, IPA kind of.
Yeah, you could probably class it alongside that.
Interesting, man. Very, very interesting. Like fruity vibes, or
yes, definitely like a real kind of like a more sour fruity taste to it. And I'm not sure if that was just due to like the alcohol content being that bit higher, like 6.1%.
That's really interesting. That's really
So,
interesting. Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
yeah, definitely. I'd recommend it. But it was one of those ones where I knew I was drinking more beer than usual because obviously I'm always used to having those 330 tins, the smaller tins, and knocking them back quite quickly. Whereas when I'm drinking this one, I was like, man, I'm not done this yet. And it's not one I could really gulp down. Like, you have to take your time and drink this beer.
Yeah, savor it. Savor the flavor.
Yeah.
Nice one, man. That sounds lovely.
What about yourself?
So yeah, I've had quite a few. Lo and behold, I finally had a BrewDog beer.
Oh.
Which was not fancy, not some strange hybrid style. Didn't have a tiny umbrella in it. It was Dogma Scotch Ale. And
Dogma Scotch Ale.
Yeah, man, this was fantastic. It's not something I've ever known them to do. You know, more concentrating on their IPAs and their, strange, fruity stouts and things of that nature. But yeah, it's like 7.4%, 3 or 4%, and it was beautiful. It had like a sweetness, kind of like a toffee flavor to it without being too sweet. And it packed like a real kick, had a real weight to the taste. It was lovely. Recommended.
See what percent it was?
Yeah, 7.3 or 7.4 around there. But really, really, really nice, man. And yeah, I can definitely recommend that without kind of hesitation. If you're looking for something that's a bit more classic rather than maybe a bit more crafty from BrewDog, I definitely recommend it.
Was this like one of their hybrid drinks? You know how they sometimes have crossovers with like cloud.
No, man. Yeah, no, I thought it might be like a guest kind of. I had it obviously in BrewDog, and I thought it was kind of a bit of a. It might have been like a guest style, but no, it's one of their own, and I think it's readily available kind of on their website. Last time I checked, so yeah, recommendation.
How did you have it? Was it like a can? Was it draft?
No, it was on. Well, it was on draft there. On pump at BrewDog, so had it there, and it was.
Sorry, did you just
fantastic.
say blonde pump?
I said on pump.
All right, I was like, it's a strange way to describe. Anyway, that's
it was it was a brunette that served me.
Good, nice save.
So that was fantastic. Recommended. And next up, I had Birmingham Breweries Bitter Brummy, some local brewskis.
I tried a nickname now.
Man, I tried. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not bitter at all.
We said better, not.
I tried. I tried a bunch of their cans. I think like last year, like a bunch of, and I just happened to stumble across this one on cask at a local watering hole last weekend. I thought I'd give it another go. It's a triple hopped bitter, so it's like a hybrid style. It's got the full bodied. Yeah. What's that?
As the kids say.
Oh, as the kids, I thought that was kind of a youth saying that you brought in there. Really way to kind of bring down our demographic, our age.
Oh yeah, I forget our younger audience can't drink.
Yeah. Good call. It's it's got like a full-bodied kind of maltiness to it, but then a really fruity floral aftertaste. It was like a strange mixture, but it was nice to try it again. Support your local breweries, but just not really my thing. But an interesting blend.
Sounds experimental. Triple.
Definitely, man. Definitely. It's interesting. So I recommend it if you're looking for something a bit different. Yeah. Try it out, dude. Try it out. And then lastly, on the weekend, I had Shepherd Neame 1698.
All right.
A Kentish strong ale.
Oh.
These guys.
I've seen that style around, but for some reason, a Kentish strong ale does not sound appealing to me.
It's It's a bit of a specific one, I think, or a bit of a specific taste to it. Because I remember having these guys double stout, which I think I acquired from Adel, Li- Lidl or Aldi, like last year or the year before, which I really dug. But this is their kind of, it's the strong ale, but it hit me more. It struck me more of as an old ale because it had like an aged taste to it. It was like a touch of licorice, but a very light back end. It kind of disappeared a little bit.
Would you say like close like Old Peculiar?
Similar, very similar, but a bit lighter in taste. Like there was kind of almost zero back end to it. It was fine. Like it was fine. Not bad at all. Not the best strong ale I've had, but yeah, an interesting take on it. So yeah, it was nice to try something a bit different. But that was about it for my last beers watched. Have you got anything else that you'd like to bring to the table?
I think the last tin I had out of the Beer 52 box was Karaoke Tears, and that was a hazy IPA, but it was like a mild letdown. It was like, yeah, it was fine, but I never got any sort of fruity notes that I really was wanting out of it. It was just kind of just really hoppy. So nothing to write home about, but it's kind of what you expect when you get like a Beer 52 is a box of mystery beer. Not all of them are going to be winners. Man.
Yeah, definitely pick a mix. But even the bad ones, at least you can say, you can tick it off the list if it's a new style that you never tried. So
definitely.
Awesome, man. Seems like a really nice mixture you've had yourself, bud. What do you think about this beer, then, dude? How's it striking? I'm getting a lot more sweetness now. Now that I've kind of, I don't know. Now that I've drunk more, I'm kind of getting a lot more sweetness to it now compared to my initial taste.
I'm just surprised at how light it is.
Yeah. I think, as I say, you expect something a bit more of a bite to it, but it is quite light. It's got it's like almost like a hint of whiskey, like a very faint sense of whiskey to it, but yeah, nothing too powerful, but it's nice, very smooth. Doesn't really taste like a 5.8% to me, but maybe I'll be on the floor once it's finished, so we'll see.
That's it. Maybe by the end, when you finish this bottle, you have a nice little buzz on. But
yeah, man, better continue this podcast before I'm KO'd. So let's jump onto our second beer of this evening. An old friend, if you will, which I'll happily drink with an old friend this evening. I mean, we've only known each other a year or so, but he is getting on a bit. It's the Mighty Champion. Woo! There we go. Let's crack this bad boy open. The gold medal winner of the International Brewing Awards 2019. How about that? That's like the Oscars of brewskis.
New smell.
You can smell that, man. Like that kind of. I get that, like that kind of licoricey kind of nuttiness straight away. Have you got COVID?
I was about to say, I feel like Ralph Wiggum trying to play the recorder.
Did you test before we recorded?
I better check the old taste buds.
Yeah, man. There we go. Look at that, buddy. It's just dark. Honestly, man, pure syrup. Lovely stuff. Beautiful.
Jeez, oh.
Sure, you remember great. This is not a video podcast, yeah? Just want to remind you.
I'm sorry, I'm just getting lost in the beer. It's just
take it in, buddy. Breathe it in.
I'm wiping tears away.
Honestly. Soak it up, buddy.
I've been waiting to log lager for so long.
I've got such a backlog, honestly, bud. Tell you that. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. It's one of them. If you have 2 or 3, you definitely know you'll be hitting the Gaviscon.
Oh,
like,
and you're
100%,
you're
man.
fucked.
Otherwise, you're not sleeping. Like 100%. It's
I
gorgeous.
just realised I was going to do my best this season not to swear.
Why?
I don't
the
know.
whole
Just,
kids thing. I remember the demographic. Don't forget about it.
Professionalism, but just that taste.
Professionalism. You and me. Wow. Gorgeous, man. Like, yeah, like just really dark, syrupy, licorice flavor to it, like biscuity flavor to it. Just crazy levels of maltiness. Just gorgeous, man. Absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, here we have old favorite champion, another Scotch ale, standing at a severe 7.3%.
Dancing with the devil, you pale moonlight now.
Man, you know it, dude. To jump back into the back history of McEwan's a little bit, in 1970, do you know what? It never gets any easier. In 1973, their recently rebuilt Fountain Brewery pioneered the use of computer control for the entire brewing process. And come 1975, they were the best-selling canned beer in the UK.
In the 80s, now brewed by Terminators.
And,
Sorry.
Ready to take over the world, dude. Come 1975, they were the best-selling canned beer in the UK. In the 80s, they began their foray into football sponsorship, which most notably saw them sponsor Rangers, which lasted all the way up till 1999. And it was during the 80s that also saw the launch of their Alive and Kicking campaign, which offered some of the most zaniest and well-produced TV ads at the time. There's a bunch on YouTube, and I wholeheartedly recommend checking them out as they're brilliant. Alongside their Scottish Ale, which is readily available at home, which is readily available to home drinkers, sorry, I should say. It's the one that we covered last season. Most of their output, including their original 60, 70, and 80 shilling ales, their lager, and their best Scotch, which is a bit confusingly titled as it's their mild bitter hybrid. I've always wanted to have a go on. They're all draft only, unfortunately. So yeah, if you don't have them in a local, you shit out of luck, sadly. But yeah, great kind of catalogue of beers and still putting old styles into pubs, some kind of historical brewskis, kind of still putting them on draft for people to enjoy, which is awesome. Okay, it's that time of the evening where we leave a segment of the show in our dear listeners' hands. Shit. It's listeners' questions. Here we go. Okay. Right. Michael John Cam 95 or at sunshine _ butterfly 2021 asks, what percentage of liquid so you think we drink a year that's beer? Stu.
So,
Stu,
thanks.
Please step up. Please.
Thank you to
please step
for
up to the
sending us this question. Were they addressing us? Like, what is your liquid intake?
I
to me,
know. I try to get about 9 or 10 pints of water a day. You know, keep yourself cleansed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You lose a lot in sweat. Obviously, I'm quite obese at the moment after lockdown. I'm still working on it, John. I'm still working to get rid of that weight. A lot of sweat, so but 10 pints.
You walk those streets.
I do.
You wear it well.
The chub or the water?
Well, I can only see you for the top up, but I can't even tell if you're sporting a chub or not.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I don't want you to see my chub. I appreciate you saying that, though. I try hard to conceal my chub.
Just when I said chub or not, I had an image of Vinnie Jones as the Juggernaut in my head. The Chubbernaut.
What?
Like, that is a horrible X-Men porn parody.
Geez.
I was not expecting to say those words tonight.
Wow. You've been on an X-Men kick recently, have you, bud?
# Chubbernaut.
Wow,
Good luck trying to spell it.
very strange dreams this young man is having.
McEwan's, you are a champion. But let's
What
just
does that
pull it back
mean?
in. I usually tell Tom, stop going off on these crazy, silly little tangents. I have to steer the ship back. And I have to do it to myself. This is what happens when you feed me champion.
Jesus Christ.
So, I looked at my daily intake of liquid.
Did the research.
And it's just, I can break it down into 4. In the morning, it's a coffee. Then about lunchtime, I'm Scottish, so it's an iron brew. Maybe after my dinner in the evening, a glass of milk.
Do you?
When the kids are settled and it's time to put something on Netflix, chill on the couch. If I really want to chill, it's a bottle of beer.
Yeah.
If I'm behaving, it's a cup of tea.
Cup of tea. Got to be done. Has to be done.
That is kind of the blueprint, the pattern of what my daily intake. So it just times that by 365, and it's probably just an even 25% across the board. So
25% is beer.
Yeah, like 25% coffee, iron brew. Sometimes that's switched up with water when I'm thinking, man, I am kind of getting the man tits. Let's haul it back in.
I did see them earlier. I was going to say something, but I thought I didn't want to kind of knock down your confidence for the show. But I thought it'd be an after-show thing to discuss.
A couple of them are looking a little bit stretched.
It's amazing. It's gorgeous.
But I'm drinking beer, so I don't care.
Well, I like your answer. I'm just confused about whether do they want it in metric units or imperial measures or imperial leathers.
Tom, tell me.
So I'd say about 94
how much beer you've drank this
shower
year?
Gel a year.
You've been drinking shower gel?
No, I mean 94 bottles worth of shower gel, I would say.
All right, I was going to say, if it's Redox, I'd understand, because the tangerine smells quite nice.
Yeah, is that the one that makes, if you put it on your testicles, it gives it a little tingle?
No, that's mint, crazy bastard.
Oh, is it the mint one?
What again?
I don't really mess around with the fruit, to be honest. I'm normally more of a kind of, I don't know, like.
Oh, you're like a Lynx Black guy, aren't you?
No, I'm more like kind of what would you call it? Like a buttercream and nice dreams. You know, kind of guy.
95 was not expecting this much of a complex answer between
coconut
X-Men
milk.
with chubs and what we like to wash ourselves
coconut
with.
milk and
He
Smarties.
just wants to know what the fuck you're drinking this year. Swore! Jesus.
You should
have
could have told me about this mandate before we started recording.
The swear jar now. That all goes towards beer.
Right. To summarize, we drink a lot of beer in a year. I would say 99.9% of it is beer related.
Yes.
In terms of our average liquid input. Liquid output, jeez, that could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
Those are numbers that I don't really want to get into. They're figures that we should just leave alone this evening.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm drinking iron brew coffee and beer, you can imagine the color that's coming out.
Yeah, that's not going to be good. That's not going to be good for you, for anyone really, anyone in your household. Not good.
Tom, do we have another question?
We have another question, and this is from Smooth Operators, guys.
Oh.
Great name, fantastic, well done.
Yes.
What is the highest percentage you could tackle when it comes to beer? So
I'm just gonna hold this bottle that says 7.3. That's me.
I was having a little think about it myself, and I was thinking kind of what is the strongest beer I've ever had, and it's got to be Super Kestrel. That's like 9%.
Oh,
I can't think of anything else higher than that. I mean,
wait, what was the barley wine again?
Yeah, the barley wine was like 7.5, 7.5 or so. Special brew's about 7.5 as well. As much as I love special brew, I can only do about 2.5 cans.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've got the headache from hell the next day. So I don't mind. I can tackle the high percentages. It's just sessioning the high percentages is
Yes,
always a
that's
very, very bad idea, man. But some of these brewskis like crazy. Some of these dark Belgian ales go up to about 10%.
stupid numbers.
And man, like the German box, like they go up to about 20%, dude. It's madness. It's insanity.
Yeah. I've seen some of that Wild Beer Company. They were doing big bottles with high percentages on them, and I think it was just described as wild beer. And then Vault City Brewing seemed to go quite high up with their fruity sours. But to me, I think the time that I had a high percentage beer and felt it was Broughton Ale's double IPA.
Ooh.
That was like a 7.5. And it was just, remember having a slug of that, and I thought, whoa, hello, darkness, my old friend. And I was going,
you got to slow it down a little bit, man.
That's how light I am. And to be honest, I could experiment. We're only here once. I could probably push it to 10%.
Definitely, man. I think if those if those first couple of sips hit you though, quite bad, it's game over, to be honest.
Pass it on to your pal.
Yeah, but those beers, they're less deadly because at least you know what you're kind of messing with. It's the ones that you taste and it doesn't really hit you if they're quite light, but they've got a strong percentage. You don't really feel it until you're kind of a bottle or two down, and you're like, shit, I'm battered. Like, it's at least with the higher percentages, you know what you're kind of getting into. But I think once you get past 10, you're getting into that kind of wine territory, really, and you got to kind of lay off the points to be honest. As you say, thimble size, I think is the way to go.
Speaking of that, Brewdog put out a 57%
I remember you telling me about this, man.
Either earlier this year, actually, it might have been last year, called Strength in Numbers. And it was like 28 pounds for a 40 milliliter bottle, so a miniature. And there's like a little sling top bottle, 40 milliliter, £29, but 57%.
Brewdog, look, if you're not busy mistreating your staff, send us one out, man. Do you know what I mean? Get it on the list, the to-do list. Send one out to your boys. We'll review it. You know we will. You know you will. Stu, you know you will, bud. Come on, let's do it. Shout out. So, I hope that's...
Treat your staff better.
I hope that's answered. Hashtag treat your staff better. I hope that's answered your question, guys. Thank you to, Michael, John 95, All Sunshine, Butterfly 2021, and Smooth Operators. Exquisite. Thank you. Cheers. Stu, it may be a little like comparing apples and oranges, but what's your ranking of McEwan's catalogue so far? So these two and the Scottish Ale we did last season. And anything else if you have tried that? I don't know whether you have.
I don't think I have. No. I'll probably go. Oh, it's difficult. I feel like maybe Scotch Ale, Headspace, Champion.
What? The Scotch Ale?
Yeah,
the Champion or the Headspace? Oh, the Scotch. Yeah, sorry, man. The Scottish Ale.
Scottish Ale. Apologies.
Yeah. Sorry, man. No, it's confusing. Honestly, it's only an ish away from being something else. So what did you say? Sorry.
Yeah, Scottish Ale.
Scottish Ale.
Headspace. Champion.
Is that upward? Is that 1 to 3 or is that 3 to 1?
These two are shite. I prefer the other ones. No. Champion? I do quite enjoy this. Like, I've only had this beer Champion once before, and that was on
the podcast.
Films and Swearing. I was doing a podcast. Me and Magic Mike Christie were discussing Michael Bay's The Rock. and I decided just to sink like a tumbler of Champion as we were reviewing it, and I did not pay attention to like the alcohol, like the volume. And by the time I'd finished the bottle, I was just like in character as Sean Connery, like, just Big Sean.
Yeah, dude.
Welcome to the
Ale.
Rock. Just
it'll do things to you, dude. It'll do things to you.
I was transported to a land far, far away. Fucking Alcatraz. But geez, fucking Rocket Man a lot. It was. I would just like just like talking to Mike. He's like, wait a minute, I know this isn't a beer podcast, but they weren't fucking joking when they said premium beer. Fucking hell.
It just kind of somehow evolves into a beer podcast. You talking about Champion, how much you enjoy it for the next half an hour.
Guys,
go check that out.
I swore.
Go and check that out. And you've got a little kind of behind the scenes info there on the podcast. Go and check it out with this information now in the back of your mind.
It's
a companion podcast. I think that, I mean, it's kind of like I say, it's in its own league. The Scottish Ale is obviously very light, so I'd probably include that in maybe like a list of like my kind of bitters rather than compare it with these two, because these are very different types of beer. And in my other kind of like my bitter kind of table, that falls quite high. It's lovely, really nice like session kind of bitter, I would say. But yeah, Champion takes the lead for me. Just fantastic, lovely brewski. Headspace kind of disappointing. You know, I felt kind of that way the first time I had it. I kind of feel
the kick you're expecting.
Yeah, I feel similar now. Like being a big whiskey fan, as well as a beer fan. The combining of the two, I thought would be a bit more kind of, I don't know, we would produce a bit more of a better beer. But it's fine. It almost tastes to me like a diet Champion.
Right?
Is that fair? Like kind of similar
maybe
taste profile, but very light. Kind of
Headspace was a lot more fruitful though. Like straight away, I got notes when I opened the bottle.
Yeah,
and then by the time I opened Champion, I clearly had COVID and smelled nothing.
Yeah, the Headspace maybe got a bit more like a raisiny kind of thing, fruity thing going on, possibly.
Possibly.
Whereas the Champion's just obviously hitting you with the kind of licorice and the very indulgent maltiness, possibly. But yeah, they're kind of different beasts, I suppose. But that's how I would compare them. But I'm glad that you enjoyed it, Stu.
I am too.
Your time here, just having a gay old time.
What else can we have?
As per usual. So that's our season opener in the bag. Everyone can exhale an audible sigh of relief. No, the next few months are not going to be as bleak and as miserable as you thought. The logs are back to put a mile on your waist. That play-at-home beer consumption really packs on the pounds, right? It's at the Lager Logs for our social media. A lot of exciting things going down on there since last season closed. A little bit of extra airtime for all the weird and wonderful things we've been putting into our body the past few months. And that will continue on. Don't you worry. Shoot, anything in particular you'd like to highlight or low light?
I would like to highlight, because now we're in October, that if you have a look at our Twitter, we should be promoting our October hosting fee bundle.
Yep.
I don't want to use the term humble bundle, because that's clearly someone else's racket. But I've been like a squirrel savouring all these little nuts. Like from the edit, all these conversations that ended up on the shopping room floor. But I looked at it. I've got a zip file that has 5 hours worth of additional content from podcasts I've been doing this year. So whether it's films of swearing or the lager logs. So there's videos of me and Tom unpacking beer and discussing it.
Oh, so much content. So much content.
There's me and Tom doing drunken introductions to films and swearing extras.
Don't forget the outros, drunken intros and outros, guys.
And outros. I mean,
worth your money.
There's like a 90-minute podcast on Scream. Like, there's already one on films and swearing, but there's 90 minutes worth of additional conversation on the first Scream movie. And then it's got me and Tom talking at the top and the tail of the podcast. So that is getting put all in a neat little zip file, being thrown online for the users to enjoy, for the listeners. So this is just a chance for them to send us a donation, because October is the hosting fee month. We have to drop that big old $100 to keep our, I guess, host.
Our site afloat.
Yes.
Keep our site active.
You know how many websites are hanging off of this. We've got films and swearing, lager logs, all hanging on the back of Podcast on Fire. We're like ticks clinging on.
Yes.
So
definitely.
This is the only time of the year that I'll ask, hey, if you really enjoy the podcast and you want to show your appreciation and like send us some money, like a tip, like even like if it's enough for a coffee, we will have like a PayPal link on Twitter, and if you do that, obviously I will receive notification of it, and I will send you a Dropbox link on your email address, and you'll get over 5 hours worth of content, which I'm still adding stuff to. I've got like another video and another conversation with Tom to throw into this mix, so it might be over 6 hours worth of content by this point. And Christ, if you chip in a few quid and you get 6 hours worth of content at the end of it, quid's in, Jesus.
Hell yeah. Come on, it's a win-win situation, guys. You get the bonus stuff. We get to keep the website alive for another year and continue to do the show. So, yeah, we'd really appreciate it. And I think by the time this is out, it's going to be out, Stu?
Yes, it will be.
Yeah, so, guys, yeah, get on that. It's going to be some fantastic stuff. Some great deleted scenes. It's going to make everything, all the episodes just make sense. Do you know what I mean? So when someone brings out the director's cut, you're like, do you know what? I've got a new appreciation of that film. That's how it is with us. A new appreciation of the show. I would say, personally. I think it's life-changing, personally. I think if you don't get this, then it's just not worth living anymore.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, okay. I would.
Maybe probably can't be friends. Let's say that.
We're not going to be friends. So, guys, if you want to keep us as friends, please.
Have a look at that. On Twitter.
There you go. Get on that, lads. And lad S's, ladies. Next week, it's our Oktoberfest special. Yes, we'll be covering a couple of releases from German brewers Wildhaus. What it's spelled Waldhaus, guys. Check that out. Those will be their Diplom Pils Lager and their Summer Beer, available at all good craft beer merchants. Your week to acquire the brewski starts now. Thank you guys once again for coming to watch our 100 Malta Dash. We hope to have pleased judges. In a perfect world, we'd like to see more Tens and Dudley Moore. See you in a week. Bon voyage, booze hounds. Say goodbye, Stu.
I froze. Ladies and gentlemen, I've drank the lager and Tom's delivered the logs. Bon voyage, booze hounds. Woo!